So good evening, everyone, and welcome to Season 6 of OTF Connects. Yes, we began in 2012 with a small number of sessions and a small number of participants, and we've been growing every year since. So we're very excited to be starting our 6th season, and we're very happy to welcome all of you here. My name is Susan Watt, and I'm a moderator for OTF Connects. This is my 3rd year as a moderator, and for a couple of years before that, I did webinars for OTF Connects as well. So I'm really happy to be back, and I'm going to introduce Andrew Bronski tonight, who's going to be doing our very first session, and he's going to be talking to us about a wonderful platform called OTF Planboard and Chalk. And Andrew and I are from the same part of the province. We're both in Kitchener. He's a high school teacher here in Kitchener, does wonderful work in the classroom and out of the classroom, and I think he'll tell you a little bit about that. He does some work with some of the tech startups in town, and he's also the founder and director of our TEDx Kitchener Ed event, which was just held a month ago, and it was awesome. So Andrew's an experienced OTF Connects presenter as well. We're really happy to have you back, Andrew, this year. So I'm going to turn my mic off now and welcome Andrew, and he's going to take things away from here.
All right, welcome everybody, and thank you, Susan, for that lovely intro. I'm flattered. And I gotta say thank you to all of you for joining us tonight. I'm always incredibly impressed with the number of fantastic educators across Ontario who are willing to give up an hour and a half of their night to work on their own professional development. So I always think it's amazing that OTF Connects fosters and supports this. So thank you all for joining us. So as Susan mentioned, we're going to talk about a tool called Planboard, which is an online lesson planner. But it is much more than that. And actually, we'll start with a poll right now, because I just saw in the chat there, Deanna says she can't hear me very well. I'm just going to poll everybody right now. If you can give me a green check mark if you can hear me very well, or a red X if you can't hear me very well right now.
It's just fuzzy.
Just a little fuzzy. Okay, I'm going to turn my mic up a bit here for you guys. And how am I coming through right now? Okay, Susan, that's some proof for you. Better, but still muffled. Okay. I'm going to turn it up a bit more. Still on. Okay, and so I'm going to do this one more time, try the green check mark versus the X on the clear here, and hopefully that's better for most of you. How are we sounding right now? Okay, that looks so much better. Sorry about that, so I'll start a little bit again. Just thank you all for joining us tonight. I appreciate you as educators giving us some time on your personal time tonight to go and work on your own professional development, and a huge thank you to OTF Connects for facilitating this and making it happen. So, as I was saying, we're here to talk about Planboard, which is an online lesson planning tool, but at the same time, it is so much more than that. I've been using it since they started, which I want to say is about 5 years ago now, and it has really evolved greatly over time. It is a phenomenal tool. It's kind of changed the way I look at lesson planning and the way I use my lessons. And so I'm very, very excited to share it all with you tonight. Feel free, we've got a decent sized group here, but feel free to pop in with questions as we go. But that being said, I kind of chunked the presentation tonight into about 6 sections. And so with those 6 sections for tonight, the focus will be on going through different parts of Planboard, and there'll be a time for each of you to go and play a little bit and come back with any questions you have too. Okay, with that in mind, I'm going to move ahead here with the slides. Susan gave an introduction to myself already, and she touched on pretty much all of this, so I won't go over it with you all again, but it's there if you're interested. And sorry, I'm just looking at the chat again here. I'm sorry if it's not coming through great for some people right now, but based on the check marks, I think I'm sounding okay for most people. And Susan, just to check, if you want to jump on the mic very quickly.
I would say it's still a little bit muffled. So I'm not sure how to troubleshoot that because I'm not sure what your situation is, but it is a little muffled.
And it was okay when we started though, correct?
Yeah, I don't know if you just moved closer to the mic there, but that was a little bit better, yes.
Okay. Everybody just give me 1 second. Just going to adjust something with my microphone. Okay, I just made an adjustment. Is that sounding better to anyone else? You can jump in the chat, or Susan, if you want to let me know how I'm sounding on your end.
Yeah, I would say that's clear, but I think we'll just have to be aware of it as we go through.
Okay, my apologies everyone if it's not coming through great. So one thing I want to start off and talk about today is just, I love this quotation from John Dewey, and it's going back quite a while. But when we're looking at our lesson planning, I'm a person who really likes evolution and iteration, and this idea of there's different ways we can look at our lesson planning and how we're working with our students. And so I really kind of like to start off with the presentation here and just kind of thought, you know, if we teach today's students as we taught yesterday's, we rob them of tomorrow. And I don't know if you've been here or not, but I used to find myself here a lot, days kind of like really kind of stuck in what do I want to do with my students? How do I do it? And I actually found the way I was doing my lesson planning to be restrictive in some ways. So I don't know where all you are at right now with how you do your lessons, but for myself, I really struggled with using a paper planner going back about 7 or 8 years in my practice. And then I was trying something like a Microsoft Word file where I'd put a table in and have boxes with the dates and try and like type in some examples of what I was doing there and follow my lessons that way. And then eventually, as I said, about 4 or 5 years ago, I came across Planboard, and it kind of really changed how I look at lesson planning. It made my life so much better and so much easier. So my hope at the end of the session today is kind of take you, if you're here, into something like this, and that making lesson plans and writing them very enjoyable and opening up some doors for you that you maybe haven't had depending on how you're doing the lesson planning right now. So with that in mind, one thing, technology is going to be a giant thing in our classrooms for many of us. Maybe if you're not using it with students or your students don't have much access to it. Most classrooms now, or many at least, have something like a data projector or a smartboard in them, and many teachers have access to a computer. And so it's kind of opened these doors for what we can kind of share with our students and how we can connect them to the world. And one thing that's great about using Planboard is that it kind of allows you to bring all of that and kind of organize your digital self. The websites we use in our classrooms, the links, the files of using things like Microsoft Office or Google Drive. So that's one of the things I'm hoping to share with you all tonight. And so like I mentioned, this is a perfect marriage of looking at using Planboard and kind of organizing our digital selves and from a lesson planning standpoint, whether it be with Google Drive or write any other tools. And so a little background for all of you here. When it comes to using Planboard, it is a tool under an umbrella of tools from a company called Chalk.com. They're actually based in Ontario, in Kitchener-Waterloo. They were started and founded here. I've had the luck to kind of cross paths with the team a number of times. They're a great group. They've been growing a great deal. And it's been really cool to watch them evolve as a company as well, too. And so they started off with Planboard. It was the first tool they created, and they built out a suite of tools from there as well. So one thing I want to start off with, if you don't have an account, it would be great if you could go and create one right now. And if you do, if you want to open up a browser and kind of log in, we're just going to give you some time here. So there's a few places you can go. You can just go right to chalk.com. It's a very simple website to get to. And they have something called automatic login or automatic sign-in. So you can see on the screen here in the bottom left, there's a symbol for Google there. So if you're already logged into a personal or a work Google account, you can just click the Google button and then it creates an account and logs in right away. Same with Microsoft Office, Edmodo, or Facebook. So if you're the type of person who doesn't like creating multiple accounts, you can just log in directly to chalk.com with any of those four. Or if not, up beside the login there, it says sign up. You can click on that and then type in your email and create a password as well to do that. So we're just going to pause here for about 30 seconds or so. And so I'd like you to open up the browser and either if you already have a chalk.com account, go and log into it. And if you don't, if you want to go and create an account very quickly, as you can see in the chat there, Susan's put the link in to go and sign up for an account right there. So I'm just going to pause for 30 seconds here and let you go and open the browser to log in or create an account to Chalk. And Joe, yeah, I would say it's perfectly okay. If you feel good at your school board there and you want to lock it to your school board account with your Google Suite, that's a great way to log in and use it there too. It's just a login, so your board would choose if they would allow, sorry to answer to Joe here first, your board would choose to allow if they allow sign in through your Google account or not. So if you click the Google button and it does sign you in, your board's allowing you to go that way. So yes, I don't see it being a liability issue at all. And Gloria, in response, right now I'm just having everybody either go and log into their chalk.com account for Planboard if they have one, or click the link in the chat there and go and sign up for an account very quickly. Because while we go through things here, I mentioned I'm going to have you in about 6 different sections for this presentation. And after each one, I'm going to give you a chance to go, after I show you what it looks like, to give each of you a chance to go and play with it, try it out, and come back with any questions you have so we can troubleshoot things as you're working through it. Okay, if you're going through chalk.com for the first time to sign up for an account, I just want you to get in, and then if you can come back to the presentation right now, I'm going to spend about maybe 10 minutes here showing the basics of setup, and then you'll each have a chance to kind of go around and play with it. If you just create your account for the first time, you're going to come to a bit of a different screen than this, but I want to show you that once you've used it for a little bit and you log into the dashboard in chalk.com, you're going to see something along this lines here. And I mentioned Chalk has a suite of tools. So the first one on the left there, the black P, is for Planboard. That is their online lesson planner. It's kind of like this digital portfolio for you to organize your lesson planning. I'll mention really quickly the other tools they have though too. As a sister tool to Planboard, they also have a tool called Markboard, which is essentially an online gradebook. It works in conjunction with Planboard. So if you create your classes in Planboard, they show up in Markboard for you. It's a phenomenal tool. I actually use it for my digital assessments. It's not something my board uses to kind of my own personal tracking for, and I find it's aligned really great with Growing Success for Ontario. They also have attendance there if you want to track your attendance on your own. We'll be talking about the resources tool, which is a really great functionality for you to share lessons with others within your school, within the department, or within the team. They have all the Ontario curriculum actually added into here, so you can do standards and your curriculum expectations tracking in here. And so those are kind of the big suite of tools they have here, but we're going to be focusing just on Planboard itself today. So as we've already asked you, you're going to go through here and do the sign up there. And before we dive into it, I also wanted to mention that they have a suite of apps, which is fantastic. So for Planboard specifically, there is an app in the App Store for iOS, so it works on the iPhone or iPad, and there's also one in the Android store as well if you're on Android. And so you can build and create on the app on your phone or on a tablet, and it kind of works back and forth. If you do something that's all web-based on, say, your computer, it shows up on your phone. If you make some edits on your phone in the classroom, it'll be saved there for you on your computer. So it's really nice to have that app functionality as well. And thank you, Susan, for sharing the links to those there if people want to access them. The other thing I'm going to mention here right off the bat, a few pieces. I'll do a quick plug for the support team at Chalk. They are fantastic, and because they are there pretty much constantly there. There's a live chat when you're in Planboard where they can jump in and answer any questions you have live as you're working through it. And the other reason I want to highlight this right now is one thing we're going to be talking about at the end of this session is about OTF lessons. And the great thing about OTF is they've created about a few hundred lesson plans for you that has pretty much everything you could need, resources, handouts, a breakdown of learning goals and success criteria, and they've filtered it out by grade and by subject. And one thing we'll show you how to do is that you'll be able to jump into those OTF lessons and actually add them into your lesson planner if you're looking for some help and support there. So the one thing you'll need to do is that if you would like to access those lesson plans from OTF, you're going to need to request access to them from Chalk. And sorry, Deanna there, or Deanna and Deanna, I'm really sorry. Again, when we started off here, we did some mic testing and everything was working well, and I haven't changed anything, and I am trying to keep it there. I've been playing with my audio settings a little bit, I'm going to drag the mic up. I think I sound a little better, and it seems to kind of want to slide itself back to me, so I'll try and keep an eye on it. Just testing with the group again. I am pulling up here. Do I sound a little better right now, Deanna? Okay, worse now. That's not a good thing. I just tried a different adjustment. How am I coming through now, ladies and gents? Okay, sorry, and don't worry about me being frustrated. I'm more worried about you and you guys hearing me okay. So don't worry about letting me know if it's a problem. Please keep telling me if it's getting worse on your end, and I will keep trying to play and adjust here. And Natasha, yes, sorry, I will try and slow down for you a bit. Okay. The other thing I'll mention, I'm sorry if I'm coming through muffled for some of you. I have created some videos in here on YouTube, so those will definitely come through okay. So even if you can't catch everything I'm saying in these demos in here for the setup on the screenshots, you will also get a chance to watch a screencast recording of me demoing this for you, and that will definitely come through. So I apologize for having issues with sound, and I will definitely try to troubleshoot that as we go. Please keep letting me know if things are getting worse on your end, and we'll play around with it while we're going. Okay, with all that said and that in mind, let's get and talk to you about the setup right now. So if you just created your Chalk.com account for the first time, one of the first things it's going to do is ask you to go through a basic setup, and you've probably been directed to that space now. If you've created your account before, you can come back and do this as well too. So one of the first things you want to do to set up your school year or semester, depending on what level you're teaching. So when it comes to creating a semester, this will be one of the first things you're asked. So just to create a name itself, and you can name it whatever you like. If you're a secondary in the semester at school, you might do something like Sem 1 2017-2018, and then Sem 2 2017-2018. It will ask you to create a start date and end date, which you need to put in. One thing to be aware of is that you can't have two different school years or semesters overlapping in time. So make sure you choose those start dates and dates carefully. You will also see the days teaching. It will by default check off Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday and Friday for you, without Saturday and Sunday checked off, but you can personalize that to however you'd like for the days you teach. So if you're only working part-time, for example, and you're only teaching, say, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you can only have those days in your planners. You can customize in that way. So once you've gone through that basic piece of starting your semester there, the next thing it's going to ask you to do once you save that is bring you to this screen here, which is going to ask you to create your subjects, classes, or courses, depending on how you want to see things. So in the top right-hand corner, you're going to see a blue box there that says Add Subject. Once you click that, you'll see this New Subjects box pop up, and you've got a few options for personalizing here. One of the interesting things with using Planboard is, like, as they're working with teachers all across the world, there is pretty much every setup you could possibly think of, and they put a ton of time and effort into thinking about how you can organize this yourself and personalize your lesson, your daily or like your weekly schedule to match what's going on for you and for your school. So the first thing you want to hear is come and add in your subjects. So again, that could be all across the board if you're teaching, say, math, science, writing, social studies, depending what you are, or if you're a secondary teacher like me, pretty much all of them teaching is English and different sections of English classes. You also see the opportunity there on the right to choose some coloring. If you're going through multiple subjects or courses, I highly recommend you use different colors for each one, because when you get into the actual lesson plan and Planboard, the different color coding really kind of helps your organizational piece as well. Okay, and going to slide on here. So you can see an example here I've just put in for a grade 10 academic English class. So I put my section as ENG 2DI. And then another beautiful feature that I truly, truly love about using Planboard is that they have all the Ontario curriculum added in here and embedded in. Every single expectation is there for you. So if you click on that search box where it says search for standards and expectations, now one thing to keep in mind as you're searching for these is they work in many countries around the world and they have a lot of curriculum in here. So I highly recommend you start off by putting in Ontario, and then your grade, and then the course you're looking for. So for example, for myself here for this grade 10 English class, when I'm searching out the curriculum set, I would type in Ontario grade 10 English academic, and that would pop up then pretty quickly for me. If you just start typing in science, for an example, you're probably going to get a lot of different options. So my recommendation is that you start off with Ontario. If you're teaching a course that you have multiple sections of it, you can also create multiple sections in here in that space as well, where you can see down there it has that little plus button and section 1. Okay, so my recommendation here, we go and add as many subjects as you like. We will get a chance to go and play with this shortly, and one thing I'll keep in mind for you here too is you can come back and change all of this later. So don't feel like you're stuck and have to get into everything tonight. If you have like 8 different classes you want to make, but you don't feel like you have time tonight, don't worry, you can come back and change, edit, delete, add, take out. It's very personalizable and customizable after the fact. The other thing I'll highlight and recommend to each of you here too is anything that you want to put into your planner needs to be created here as a course or subject. And so some things that might pop out outside of what you might think would say if you want to put your supervisions in your schedule, you would create a subject that says supervision. If you wanted to put your lunch hour in there, you could put lunch hour in. If you want to have your prep tagged off in here and something that can be editable in your lesson planner for your prep sessions, you'd want to create a class in here that says prep. Okay, once you have done all of that, you've got your subjects in, up in the top right-hand corner, there's a box that says Timetable. You're going to want to click on that so you can go and customize your personal timetable. When you come there, you're going to get a screen that looks like this. And one of the first things you're going to want to do when you come here is to choose your weekly or your kind of scheduled rotation. That's up in the top right-hand corner, I believe by default. And sorry, Deanna, the timetable is right beside the add subject, so it's in the top right-hand corner. So it'll say add subject, and then it'll say timetable right beside that. And sorry if we miss anything here. Again, you'll get a chance to see this again because I got a demo video following up to give you time to say much. Okay, sorry, Dan. If they just change that, you can click the next button then. Sorry about that. That must have just changed recently for them. Okay, so once you click next then, it's going to bring you to the timetable section here. And in the top right-hand corner, it's going to ask you to select your rotation. I think, again, the default is weekly, but if you click the drop-down box there, it leaves a lot of options open to you. Assessments of lesson plans. Okay, Dana, thank you. That must have been a tweak they just added in the past couple of days. You will get to timetable very quickly there if you follow their setup. Coming back to looking at the timetable here then though, for your rotation, you can see a lot of options there. So you can go like a day, 1 day, 2 day, I think all the way up to 12 or 13 days. There is a weekly rotation. You can do a 5-day rotation. So depending on the school you are at, you can kind of choose what you kind of schedule you're following it to. And it's very customizable. My school works on this at a 2-day schedule, and it follows the days of the month if they're even and odd, and you can even make it work for that space as well. So the other option here too is once you've kind of selected your rotation, up in the top left-hand corner, you'll see a blue box that says Insert Class. If you click on that and then pick your subject and pick the time, you're not going to be able to do them all at once if they're not all at the same time. So you see right now I have this set for a 5-day rotation on the image on the screen. Say if I want to insert something for 8:30 a.m. until 9:30 a.m. on days 1, 3, and 4, I would check off 1, 3, and 4. And then if you insert the times there, and it will insert them in for you very simply. And then say I had that same subject again in the afternoon, say from 2 to 3, I would go back, click on Insert to Class again, click that same subject, click on the 2 other days, and then say insert this from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. Again, you can spend a lot of time customizing this. I've worked with some people in K-6 where it's so color-coded and they have so many things all over the place, and they've got their preps in there and they've got their supervisions in there. It's kind of this beautiful menagerie by the time they have a ton of colors. Or for a lot of high school teachers, if you're only working on a 4-period day and a simple rotation, it's pretty simple to get set up. Keep in mind as you're doing this, you can come back and change anything you want. So it's very customizable that way. So here's a look after I've inserted some courses in there. You'll have a few options. So once you've gone through and added everything into your timetable here, You'll also see an option to click on semester settings. That's going to bump you back out to a new screen actually, and you can then click on off days. And one of the great things about here, this too, and I highly recommend doing this, is if you click on off days, it's going to give you the option to add in holidays. If you select Canada as a country, it will actually insert default holidays for you. And you can also add in other things, say like a PD day or anything along those lines. One of the great things about doing this is, and to be aware of, is once you do that, it will not let you edit anything on those days or insert courses for those days when you look at your daily or weekly rotation. And as you're moving your lesson plans around, it will move around those off days and those holidays for you. So it's a really nice feature as well too. And looking at the chat here, Kara, I am glad you're liking for it. Yeah, the organization you do is great. So Diana, for adding in the holidays, once you finish off adding into your timetable here, there's a button to click on semester settings. It will pop you back out where you can see your semester, and you'll be able to click on off days. And again, for everybody, I'll cover this down in the demo video after the fact here. Okay, with all that in mind now, that's a very basic example. I know there's a lot to cover there, and so if it was a little too fast for some people, they feel like they missed something, the great thing about this was I created a screencast video to show all this to in action. So the plan right now, I think it's about 8 or 9 minutes long. So again, showing screenshots is one thing, where I think actually seeing it in action makes it much more simple. The great thing about this too for all of you is once you've got this link to this YouTube video, you can come back and look at it after the fact. So basically the video is there to show you exactly what it looks like to go and set up your semester or your year, add some courses in, look at the off days and things like that too. So the plan right now is Susan just posted the link also into the chat there, is if you click on that link, we're just going to have you all leave the presentation now. I'm going to turn my mic off here for a bit and have you go and watch this 8-minute video. And when you come back, we're going to build some time in for each of you to go play, try it out a little bit, ask any questions, and I can try and troubleshoot things with you and ask any questions you have. One thing I'll ask you to do, I'm going to clear the check marks right now, is that when you come back after you've watched the video, if you just give us a green check mark to let you know you finished the video and you're back here in the presentation. Okay, hope you enjoy the video.
I'm just anticipating a question which usually comes. So click on the link in the chat as opposed to the address which appears to be on the screen. It's not an active link, but the one in the chat is.
It looks like most people have finished the video now, and just because we took a little break, I'm just going to do a quick check. How am I sounding to everybody right now? If you can give me I'll clear the check marks again, a green check mark if I'm sounding okay at least, or a red X, muffled. Okay. Okay, pretend the job. So again, very sorry if I'm coming through muffled to people. I've been toying around things over here, and I'm not sure what happened because we started off well when I was talking to Susan at the start, and I promise you I have not moved. I'm trying to sit here very still and not mess with anything. And like I said, hopefully at least with the screenshots and the demo videos, that would be helpful. Yeah, and I'm glad I had the videos there for you guys to watch. So you can save that link if you want to come back. I'm glad you can at least understand me, Deanna. And again, so my apologies to all of you that were having some sound issues there. Okay, Susan, if you could give us a timer for about 4 minutes right now. What I wanted to do after the video was give each of you a chance to go and just play around with it a little bit if you haven't started or creating your own lessons yet, or starting your own timetable. It probably will not be anywhere near enough time for all of you to finish it in 3 or 4 minutes, but I just wanted to give you a chance to have seen the screenshots here, watch the video, go play for a couple minutes, and come back with any questions you have. If there are any questions you have right now, feel free to jump on the mic and just ask, or you can forward to the chat too, and I'll try and speak to them that way as well. And so I see about the marketing section. So in this session here, we're going to be talking about Planboard itself and looking at the functionality that you can use for how to build your lessons in it, the tools you can use for it, looking at resources and how you can share and how that ties to OTF Apps. We will not be talking about Markboard specifically here, if that's what we're talking about in the marketing section. So Markboard is a sister tool to Planboard where you can do your assessments digitally, but the focus for this session is going to be focused solely on the lesson planning using Planboard. Kara, and so in response to Kara's question here, what can you share Planboard with another teacher to edit, use? Yeah, there's a great thing. So once you've built your lesson plans, there's a tool within Planboard called Resources, and we're going to look at that later in the session. And so there are a variety of ways to share your lesson plans. We'll talk about sharing later, but to kind of give you some basics right now about editing and using your lessons. Once you've created a lesson in Planboard, you can share a unique link to that lesson to share out. So that can be shared with, say, an administrator, a supply teacher, with students, with parents. So that's one way you can share. Also with other teachers, if you go into resources within accounts and tie it to your school, or you can create groups. Within that group, you can share a lesson plan to a group that another teacher can kind of copy that lesson, insert into their Planboard account, to their planner, and then they can go and edit it after the fact too. And teachers can share with you as well. This used to be a paid feature in Planboard, and it's something they've opened up to be free right now, and everything I'll be showing you all tonight is all going to be in the free section of Planboard. They've promised and committed to keeping free at all times for teachers. And so just looking at Natasha, in terms of the resources, I'm not going to touch on it right now, but I promise we will get to. There's a whole section on resources toward the end of this presentation that we'll be speaking to. And Deanne, in response to your question, yes, you can definitely add actually multiple curriculum expectations to one course. So if, for example, if you're teaching, say, a grade 3-4 split right now, when you go in and create a subject within there, for example, you can actually add in the grade 3, say, science curriculum and also the grade 4 science curriculum as an example. So on one course, you can have multiple expectations if you like. So we've got about a minute left here for those of you playing around with the setup. Feel free to come back with any questions here, and then we're going to move ahead. And you're very welcome, Tara. Yeah, like when I started using Planboard, say 4 or 5 years ago, it was really just kind of something for me. It's been amazing to watch how they've evolved over time. And a lot of teachers, there's been a lot of it that has based on teacher feedback too. And so one thing, while we've got a little bit of time here, I'll mention to all of you, if you don't see something in Planboard you'd like to see, I strongly recommend you actually reach out to them to it. We mentioned the support email earlier. Fire them an email. They love hearing from teachers, and they actually work very hard to add features that teachers are looking for. Okay, as the time is clicking down this, does there anyone else have a final question about setting up their account or getting their timetable going before we move on? I'm going to take that a no, so we're going to move ahead. So we just covered the questions there. So next up, I want to talk about the basic functionality of using Planboard. So once you've got your courses added in, your timetable set up, you can jump into Planboard itself, and so we're going to cover down here what that actually looks like, how to navigate Planboard, and what the basic tools are. So first off, from a basic functionality standpoint, they have different views. Right now, this is what we call a weekly view, and I can see 2 of my courses there. You can see the date, and so there's a variety of options off the screen here too. Up in the top right-hand corner, you can see the black button where it says week. To the left of that is a daily view where you can see just your lesson plans for that day. You can also look at things from a monthly view or a unit view. To the far right-hand corner of that, you get another variety of options here for your lesson plans. So you can always print them off if you like. You can get a PDF file of them if you want to share them that way. You can directly email your lesson plans out to someone. This is a great feature if you're going to be unexpectedly sick. You know, it's 7 in the morning and you've got a little one and they are not doing well and all of a sudden you can't make it into work. You can just jump into Planboard, click the email button, send it to your VP, send it to a supply teacher, and they've got your lesson plans for the day and they're good to go. So it's a great feature there too. I'll email off lesson plans if students have been away, off your parents very quickly too. It's another great feature. And at any time, if you want to edit the lesson plan, just click into the box for that course and you'll see the editor pop up. Okay, so that was the weekly view before. This is the daily view here. So you can see at the top right-hand corner again, the day mark is kind of blocked off there. And you can see me click into a lesson plan here. And again, one thing that I really like about this from a digital standpoint is that it looks and feels like what we're used to in, say, using something like Microsoft Word Docs. And I can add in a lot of great content. I love adding images into my lesson plans. I share all my lesson plans online for my students and my parents. And so I always try to kind of add a quick image in there offline for something that relates to what we're doing that day. And I find that this is a great way to organize myself too. Off to the right there, you can also see the little sticky note. That's kind of a notes for yourself. It's personalized just to your account and private to you. You can see the calendar there too. You can click on any day to jump ahead in your schedule as well too. So that's the daily view. I mentioned the weekly view here. So you can come here and see a quick overview of what you're doing. You can scroll up and down to look at the multiple subjects you're covering throughout that day, what order things are happening, and it's got the times there for each of them. So that's the weekly view. You can also get a very quick overview for the monthly view. All you'll see here is the titles of your lesson plans as you're scrolling through. That's a nice quick overview. And finally, there's also what's called the unit view. If you click on unit and then you select a course, you can actually scroll up and down to see all the lessons you have planned, what order they're in. You can click on them and add them this way too. So if you look to the far left, the color coding there, like the blue, that's my unit 1. The green is my unit 2. I can scroll up and down. And I can also reorder my lesson plans very quickly here. So there's a drag. I can move them up and down and change the order that way too. It's a really, really nice feature in the unit view. The second thing for basic functionality, in the very top left-hand corner, you'll see 3 horizontal bars, and this is kind of a default space for a lot of websites, but it's kind of like your options. So other things in here, going back if you want to edit your semesters, there'll be a semesters button here. You can oversee the expectations you're covering from the curriculum. So there's a whole different section just with the expectations you're covering. We'll talk about how to add that in. If you have a lesson template that you want to use, so for example, if you start every lesson off with a learning goal and success criteria, you can create a template that says learning goals, success criteria, tech needed or resources needed, and then every time you open up a lesson plan for that course, that template will be there for you automatically. You can have multiple templates. You can add in specific lessons you want to. These are all things that you'll access there. I mentioned resources earlier, and we'll look at that further on later on in the session. You can access your resources from here too for sharing lessons or seeing lessons others have shared with you. And this is also where you access other apps, things like Markboard if you want to use their gradebook online, and things like attendance and things like that as well. So I mentioned standards expectations. When you are going in and adding your courses to your timetable, you have the option to add the Ontario curriculum for that specific course. When you're creating your lessons, you have the option to see that tag for that specific course and all the curriculum there, and you can tag off those expectations. So once you come to the expectations section here, you can come and see what you have tagged off and what you haven't, see how you're doing throughout the semester, how you're covering something or how you're not covering something, what you need to get to. So if you're looking at kind of tracking the curriculum where you've used it, This is a really, really powerful tool and it's very simple to use, and I'll show you shortly how to do that as well. Next up, I want to talk about functionality actually making your lesson plan fun. So once you click into a lesson itself, you get into the lesson plan builder and /editor. So I've spoken to a little bit of this already, but it is really, really powerful. It's amazing what you can do. And I mentioned this has kind of really changed how I look at my lessons, and it's really made me organizing my digital life so much better. Again, my evolution here from a lesson planning standpoint, I would say about 7, 8 years ago, I was using a paper daybook. And I found it was cool, but it was frustrating because I was racing all the time. And as I found my life in my classroom getting more and more digital, I was frustrated by that paper daybook. I then evolved into a Microsoft Word document where I just create a table and I put all the dates in, I type in a few little notes for what I was doing each day. It was essentially a title. But again, with all the digital resources I was doing, links to things, images, videos, Google Docs, and things like that, it again was not a great space to kind of organize myself that way. And this is what I really love most about Planboard. It's a great way to organize your digital life in the classroom. So when you're looking to build your lesson plans, it's very, very similar to working in, say, like Google Docs or Microsoft Word. Excuse me. You have things like bold, italic, and underline there. You can do bolded lists, numbered lists. But getting into more of that media space, you can insert images. You can actually embed videos right in here. So if you have one YouTube video or something from Vimeo or say something from TED.com, it actually shows here as a full video that you can play right in your lesson planner. If you look down the bottom there, if you're wondering about how to tag off the curriculum expectations, if you click on the Add Standards button and you've added the curriculum to that course, you will see all these specific and overall expectations there. You can just check off the ones that you're covering in that lesson, and you can go back and look at that tracking through them as well. Another great thing about it is you have unlimited.
For a moment?
Yeah, please.
I'm just curious how. If I'm pretty excited about this, and if I get going on it and get everything set up, how reliable is Planboard? Like, how many years has it been around? You know, if I invest some time into this now, is this something that you predict will be around for years and years to come?
Sure. I mean, like with anything in the tech industry, it's always tough to say, but I can say that they've been around for 5 years. I've been using them. I've never lost anything in that time. I know that they're also, as a company for Aspen, they've been very successful. They're actually growing quite rapidly right now. They're in a lot of places around the world. And I know they've been finding a lot of success actually. So, I mean, I can't guarantee anything for you like with any company, but that being said, the future looks very bright to me, I'll say. Okay, and thanks for asking that question. It's a good question for kind of everyone to hear. So as mentioned, the curriculum standards. The next thing I was going to highlight there at the bottom of your lesson plan is the upload file button. Planboard gives you unlimited cloud storage, so you can attach anything you want off your computer to a lesson plan here. So again, you can add in PDF files, Word files, images, videos off your computer, and they're tied specifically to that lesson plan. The third option is they actually have Google Drive integration. Many school boards have gone to the Google Apps and Suite for Education, and you can actually, if you click on the Drive button in your lesson planner, the very first time you do it, it's going to ask for permission to access your Google Drive account if you're logged in. If you read over the permissions it's asking for and you're okay with them, and you click Accept, the next time you come and click on that Drive button, you can access anything from Google Drive and add it into your lesson planner. And so it just shows up with a link to those files. It's a really, really powerful tool. Excuse me. And last but not least there, you will see the Choose Template button, and that's if you create some templates. You can actually see those and insert those into your lesson plans as well. Looking at the questions here, Joe, so you're asking, is there a way to export the whole daybook into another file? It depends on what you're asking. So if you're asking about like your lesson plans for that day, you can export them into a PDF that can be shared. You can also do that for the weekly view too. Does that kind of answer your question, Joe? So like a record of the year's teaching. So I mean, you like if you want to export all of your lesson plans for the year into a paper copy. Okay, so it wouldn't be like a one click to print off the entire year, and I would say that would be a ton of paper. That being said, I would go like week by week. You could print off each week, and you have paper copies there if you want in that space. Okay, I'm going to slide ahead here. Within the lesson plan, you have a lot of amazing options too. So you click the options button in the top right-hand corner, you'll see these things here that show up. So you have an option to copy a lesson. So if you want to duplicate it, say if you're a core French teacher and you're moving around to a variety of classes and you're doing the same lesson for 3 of those classes, you can just copy that lesson and move it into another section as well. There's the option to move your lessons. This is one thing I've loved. When I was working on a paper daybook, I was erasing like crazy when I wanted to change my schedule and rewriting. And when I was in Microsoft Word, I was copying and pasting things all over the place. The move your lesson is amazing. So you just click it, say, I want to take this lesson, move it to this date. It will shift other lessons around that for you. And it is really, really simple. You also have the options to shift your lessons forward or back a day. One thing I love about this, if you have an unexpected off day, like say you have a snow day for your school year, instead of like, copy and pasting everything out, if you just click shift everything forward a day, it takes all, say like 20 lessons planned in advance, it's just all 20 lesson plans forward right within your schedule. It is amazing. It saves you a ton of time. And you can also see the print or PDF option and the share option there too. And we'll talk more about sharing your lessons a bit later. And just looking at the chat here, Susan, I totally agree. Many school boards are starting to go paperless, and this is a great tool for doing that. Okay, so I talked about sharing. So within the lesson plan or in the weekly view, you get the option to share your lessons. And there's a variety of ways to do that. One thing that pops in here, you can click on sharing lessons with. Within resources, you can create groups of people that you're working with. So for example, if you are a grade 4, part of a team in grade 4, say there's 4 teachers teaching grade 4, and you want to work together and share your lesson plans, you can create a group here within Planboard, which I'll show you guys how to do later. And within resources, if one teacher creates a lesson, you can just come here and say grade 4, share it, and all the teachers in that group will have access to that lesson plan. You can also email your lesson plans out from here. Or the other option is if you click get a link or embed code, what it will do is it will give you each a unique link to an individual lesson plan that you can post and share however you like. So that unique link to that lesson plan, if you have a website, you could post them there. That's actually what I do. I have a class website and I post each lesson plan each day for my students and parents to access. Or if you're familiar with embed codes running your website, you can actually embed a lesson plan on your website so it shows up right there for you as well too. So the sharing features for this are really, really great. And so this is what it looks like if you get that unique link. Like if you make a link to your lesson plan and say email to someone or post it to a website, this is what it will look like for them. So it won't look like your editor. It will just show the content of the lesson there for them. This has been great for my parents and for my students who have been away. I've got students who are homesick that will jump on a device, see what we're doing. You can see for this lesson plan I'm showing on the screen here right now, it's an RSA animate of Ken Robinson's talk. So I've had students like joining class discussions after watching the video from home while they're really sick. It's been a really great tool that way too. So I mentioned the Google Drive access, but I want to highlight again because so many boards have gone to the space of using Google Drive. So if you click on this integration here, what it does is that you can access your Drive right from within Planboard, add any files from your Drive there. It'll just create unique links to them. It's a great way to organize your Drive with your lesson planning. So within Google Drive here, if you click on it, you'll just open up your Drive. You can see your most recent files, attach things. You can also search them out and come across them that way. There's different ways to filter your searches so you can find things very quickly, like docs, spreadsheets, so things like that. Again, it is a beautiful, beautiful way within your own lessons to organize your digital life. And yeah, I'm glad you're excited. I love sharing this with teachers. Again, it's a huge time saver for me. Like I said at the start, it has changed the way I look at my lesson plans and the way I look at my classrooms. So I'm glad you're excited by it. And so like I said there, if you add a file in from your Drive, it will show up just as a link there. And it's like, so for example, I've got the OTF Planboard note there. If I clicked on that, it would just open up in a new tab on my computer into that Google Doc. Okay, that was a fair bit to throw at you all again. So I made another demo video here to kind of show you in action what it's actually like to be in Planboard, to go on through and use all that functionality. So we're going to kind of do the same thing here. I think the video is about 8 minutes again. So I'm going to ask Susan to post a link to the video. Right on cue, Susan. And so if you all want to keep this chat open, but I'm going to turn the mic off, go watch the video, and then we're going to have a little chance to play and for you guys to ask questions when you come back. Okay? And just let us know when you're back. All right, thank you, and hopefully you enjoy the video.
So I need to apologize here. Andrew has just drawn to my attention that the link that I posted in the chat is to a different video that he made a year ago, and that's completely my fault. So hopefully it wasn't a bust, and we will put the link to the correct video in the chat. And if there isn't time to watch it right now, it will be part of the resource page, which will be coming out at the end. And again, I apologize. Andrew, do you want to put the link in the chat?
Sure, I'll throw you. Just keep watching when you guys are now. A lot of there's some new functionality. I think you guys, it looks a little outdated for that video because it's actually from a couple of years ago. Susan, don't worry about it. I think most of you who are watching right now will be fine and getting most of the gist of that. I will put the updated link that I just made for all of you last night, which has a bit more updates for you. We won't watch it now, but I will share that with you. You can watch it later on your own. So it's there for you still to go back and watch after the fact if you want to, and then it's just on YouTube. So give me 30 seconds to track down the actual link. The one that's shown on your screen there, you won't be able to click it, but that's the right link. And I'll get it in here in the chat for you so you guys can go back and watch it later if you like. But to make sure you get out here on time, we'll come together and watch, go through the rest of the presentation for right now. So if you want to finish off that video, you're fine. Oh, Susan's got it, so she's going to put it posting here for us in a sec. Again, right now I want to just give you guys about 3 or 4 minutes. So Susan, if you want to put a timer on for 3 or 4 minutes, now's a chance to go and play with just creating some lesson plans and add some content in. And if you have any questions, please come and ask. And like I said, if you want the updated video, Susan just put the link in there. So if you open that one up, that will take you to the video I made for you last night. It'll have the updated view of all the functionality using Planboard right now. And again, don't watch it right now, but you can go back and watch it later. Don't worry about it at all, Susan. Truly, like that video from 2015, a lot of their functionality is still the same. So if you watch that video, you would have got the gist of it still too. But as soon as I did make an updated video for you last night, again, I would open that link from Susan and you can go back and watch that later if you like on your own time. So again, now's the time to play out with the lesson planner, try and build some things, add content in. Like I said, try and add a video in. Even if you take that link from YouTube right there that Susan pasted in, see if you can go and add that into a lesson plan. You'll actually see the video embed right into your lesson plan. One thing I love about this is I use unique links to those lesson plans as we've been talking about, and as I answered to Michael's question there for sharing it with like that unique link to a supply teacher when you're away, that's a link I actually give to my students and to my parents. And so most of my classes, I am fortunate to have a data projector in my classroom in my own computer, which I've got plugged into it. And so I actually put and this is not for everybody, you don't need to do this, I put my lesson plan up on the data projector at the start of every class. And my kids who have devices pop it up themselves, and it's a great way to access all your content that way. So if you want to watch a video in class, I play it right from my lesson plan from YouTube there. I'm just kind of monitoring the chat here again too. Michelle, yeah, can you use this for your TPA? Yeah, absolutely. I did a TPA last year, and I will be honest, my administrator, their mind was kind of blown. And so I met with them before they came into my classroom and just said, can we look at your lesson planning? Can you look at your long range planning? And so I just pulled up Planboard for them there, and we went through it together online on the front of the computer, and they were incredibly impressed by it, especially with the curriculum tracking and what we're doing. I kind of showing, okay, here's the lesson plans where I've covered this. This is kind of what we're coming back to. And looking at my long-range planning, it was great that way too. So my suggestion instead of printing them off would actually be to sit down with your admin and just show them your Planboard account. That being said, if they want paper copies, Michelle, absolutely there is the print feature there for you. You can print in the daily view or in the weekly view. If you want to print out a few weeks, you can do that too. You can use them. Okay, I'm really conscious of time. We've got about 20 minutes here, and I want to make sure everyone gets here on time. But are there any final questions about creating a lesson plan, editing, anything along those lines before we move ahead? Michael, yes. The idea, like one of the great things for everyone here, if you're going to be away, Planboard's absolutely amazing because your lesson plan is done already. Instead of going and doing it out, there's many ways you can share. So if you don't know who your supply teacher is going to be in advance, and you can't share that link with them directly, the other option you have is you can email it. So within a lesson plan, if you just click on the email button, you can email the day's worth of lessons or just an individual lesson into, say, a vice principal or the office admin or department head or whoever it is you need to share with, and they can print those off from there too. You can make a PDF file to share. You can print off the PDF files yourself, and I've done different routes myself. If it's an emergency, I'm just emailing it in to somebody. In my board, if it's a planned day to be away, we get notified of who the supply teacher is. So I will go in and print them off and leave them paper copies, but I will also email them in advance of lesson plans. And I've had a lot of supplies thank me for it too, because they know what they're getting before they show up on the day of. And so it's great that way as well. In the past, yeah, the integrations I think would be great for this too. I totally agree. But Michelle, going back to that too, yes, you can just post a link. Like I said, if you run a classroom website, if your kids have devices, for example, you can just post a link there. Truth be told, like I'm very fortunate in the Waterloo Region 6 school board as a secondary teacher. All of our grade 9, 10, 11 students have Chromebooks. My supply lessons are pretty much instructions to the teacher to have the kids jump on their devices, go to Planboard, which they do every day, the links, and they're kind of engaging with the and interacting with their lesson plans that way. Yeah, I totally agree, Shelley. Okay, being conscious of time here, there's a number of other features I want to show you now. Those are the kind of basics of how to get started with your semester and how to do some basic functionality, kind of creating your lesson plans. The next thing I wanted to speak to specifically is looking at curriculum expectations. So with that piece around curriculum expectations, I mentioned right off the bat in the first piece, when you create a course, you have the option to add anything from the Ontario curriculum to a specific subject or course. And then as we saw in the second section there, when you're within your lesson planner, you can click on standards, open up the curriculum expectations, and tag off the ones you're using within your core specific class. Now, that's great on the basis there to do that and kind of add that specific expectations in, but what does that really mean? So that's what I kind of want to highlight here and show you about how you can do some tagging and tracking that space. Okay, so as an example here, and Kiro, I asked your question of how you do that. This is what the screen's here for you. So here you can see I'm in a specific lesson plan for a specific subject. You can see the instructions I have there. And then down towards the bottom where it says Add Standards, if you click that button, and if you added some of the curriculum sets to one of your courses, you can go there and click on Add the Expectations. You'll see all of them there. So I think for example, a grade 9 or grade 10 English class in high school for Ontario has about 85 overall expectations. Myself personally, I don't stress too much tracking each individual expectation for my course, but I do track my lessons and my sessions by the overall expectations. So you can see here I tagged off A1, A2, A3. You can see them displayed there. If you're not sure exactly, if you haven't memorized the curriculum, which I doubt many of us have, if you hover your mouse over the A1, A2, or A3, it actually pops up a dialog box and you see specifically what that curriculum piece is showing. So looking at a lesson plan specifically here, you can see the curriculum tagged off that way. Now, that's not all you can do with it though. So this is what it looks like to add them. When you pop this box open, you can scroll up or down, see which ones you have added, which ones you haven't. To add one, you just click the Add button. If you would like to remove one later, you can see where it says A1, A2, A3 at the bottom. There's a little X beside them. You just click that X and remove it off of that lesson plan as well. From a tracking standpoint, though, you can actually track where you've covered off any of these specific or all the expectations as working through this. So to do this, you need to come to the Standards section within Planboard. To get there, in that top left-hand corner where it has those 3 horizontal bars, if you click on that, and then click on Standards, it's going to bring you to this screen. You'll see your courses there in the top hand left. So right now I'm in my 2D English course. You can see the bar off to the left there that's red right now, saying I've only covered at this point in time, I've covered down 12 of the 85 specific expectations. And then off to the right here, I can see A1, A2, and A3 haven't covered so far because they're in green. The ones underneath in gray means I haven't covered them. And the other really amazing thing about this, especially for those who are doing TPAs or things like that, if you want to look at your tracking with your students, when you click on one, so here, for example, if I've clicked on A1, it actually shows me the dates that I covered down that specific expectation. So this is from my course this semester, and you can see like, so on Monday, September 11th, Friday, September 15th, Thursday, October 12th, for example, those are actually all active links to those specific lessons where I covered off that expectation. And sorry, just looking at the chat here really quickly. So Elsie just asked, can you go back in during the week and add documentation if learning in some kind of folder or something within the period of the schedule itself? Hoping that makes sense. I'm thinking that would be great. So it needs Trace and keep it in the spot. So Elsie, I'm not exactly sure you're asking, but I think like you're asking like, is there a way to track if you made changes throughout the week and like what those changes were? Is that correct? Oh, documentation of learning. So so Elsie, you're talking about how to document how your students are reacting to your lesson plans and kind of looking at some mini assessments and kind of tracking that. Does that make sense? Is that what you're asking? Anecdotal testers photos. Yes, you can do that through Planboard. That's not set up. It's just going to be Lesson Planner. I mentioned they have a sister tool called Markboard, and that's actually phenomenal for that. So if you're looking to track students, make anecdotal notes, track by curriculum expectations again, just like in here in Planboard, making notes on students, taking photos of student work and making notes about it, you can do all of those things in Markboard. It's a phenomenal tool for assessment and documentation. Not something we're covering in this presentation today, but definitely something I'd look into. And like I said, it works as a sister tool to Planboard. You already have an account with Markboard. Yes, at the end they are integrated together. So you actually already have a Markboard account now. If you click those like three little horizontal bars in the top left-hand corner, you'll see an option to jump into your Markboard account, and you'll actually see if you've created some classes in Planboard right now. Those classes will already be there for you in Markboard. Okay, I would love to geek out with all of you with Markboard because I truly, truly love Markboard. But that being said, I want to make sure you guys get out here on time for 9 o'clock, and we've got a fair bit to get through already. Yeah, no problem, I'll see you. And Susan just dropping the link right to Markboard for you. But like I said, if you just click the three horizontal bars when you're in Planboard, you have an option to jump back and forth between Markboard and Planboard. It's a really, really great tool. All right, so you can see the tracking there for the curriculum expectations. Just to highlight too, that's something you can do in Markboard as well, so it's tied to the assessment piece. So in Planboard, you're just tracking about like where you've taught and how you've instructed students on the curriculum. In Markboard, you'll be looking at tracking how you've assessed your students based on the curriculum. And so these arrows here is kind of look at that tracking as well, and you can see what you have covered, what you haven't covered. Something that's great to check back in on throughout the semester and see how you're doing at covering the curriculum, where have you covered. If you're looking at spiraling, what you're doing in your classrooms, you can see how often you're spiraling or how often you're not spiraling. Okay. I also want to speak quickly to the unit planner. When we mentioned we're looking through Planboard, there's the different views like the day view, the week view, and the month view. There's also a unit view. So you can see there, and you click onto unit, and it brings you to a screen like this here. In the top left-hand, like when you come into unit planner first, it doesn't show you any content because you need to select a course. So in the top left-hand corner, you can see that like little blue button that says math. If you select that, you can look at the subjects or courses you want to look at specifically. And then it's actually got a list here of all the lessons you've planned for that semester. And it's a great way to make quick edits or move things around. So say, for example, you're very ambitious at the start of the semester. You plan out, say, 100 lessons for the entire year. You've got them all there in one space. You've got them organized by different units. But you realize after the fact that you want to flip one unit to another. You're wondering about how to move all those around. You can actually just come here very easily, and you just click and drag up and down. You'll see the dates off to the right. So as you move the lesson plan and drag it, say, down underneath another one, it will actually automatically change the order of the dates for them back in your plan board. So this is a great place to come and make edits to your planning as you adjust and move throughout the semester. Okay, another feature, and again, I'm throwing a bunch of features here at all of you right at the end, and truly I was talking to Susan and Syria, who helps kind of moderate this. I could probably do a 3 or 4 hour presentation just on Planboard and all the amazing features it has. So I won't even get to touch on a lot of things I would love to share with each of you today. But that being said, there's 2 final things I do want to share with you before we get out of here. So resources. Resources was actually a paid tool last year. It's something I showed very quickly in these presentations, but I didn't touch on too much. Now Planboard decided, hey, this is great functionality. A lot of teachers want to use it. Let's just make it free so other people can have it as well. So this used to be, you'd have to pay for this before. Now it's a brand new free tool. And I'll reiterate, everything I'm showing you guys today is free and something Chalk has promised to keep free for all time. So resources is a great place to share your lesson plans and units through a department, through teaching partners, or even within your entire school. So click across here. I'm actually clicking on those like 3 little horizontal bars. So this is where you can kind of pop up here and then go back and edit your semesters, look at your subjects, look at the curriculum understandings that you've been covering, look at Planboard there, and I mentioned there's access to Markboard, but the one you want to come down to here is to click on is resources, which is right under attendance there. And once you click on resources, it will bring you to a page like this. Now, you won't see all that content in the middle because those are like lesson plans that I've shared or have been shared with me. And you will also see all the kind of groups I'm on off to the left. The first one you'll see is the school and at. So when you're up behind the first group most will join, you'll be looking to create your school. If you're having any trouble getting set up in here, if you look in the bottom right-hand corner where it says leave a message, you can just open that box and actually start a live chat if someone's there with someone from Chalk and help them. They'll help you get set up here. And one thing I mentioned right back at the beginning of this was sending an email to support@chalk.com to say, hey, all you need to say in this email is, hey, can you please give me access to the OTF group? Okay, so I highly recommend you all do this. Susan, if you wouldn't mind dropping the email again for support@chalk.com into the link. If you haven't done so or after the session, go and email them and say, I would like access to the OTF group, and I'll show you what that gives you in a sec here. So within your groups, though, you can have a school group, and then you can see the other groups I've got down the side. So I've got some different subjects here and some semesters. So these are groups I set up with other teachers in my school. So, for example, in my English department in my high school, we have 4 teachers teaching grade 10 academic English this semester, and we're using Planboard to plan out our lessons, and we're collaborating together. So one of the great things about it is if I go and say make a lesson plan for this week for that grade 10 academic English course, I can click on the share button within Planboard, click on my 2D group, and then I automatically share that lesson plan with everyone else in that group with me. You can do this by department, within a school, you can create your own groups. You can share individual lessons or a group block of lessons as well. And so what you'll see here is like mine, when you look at those like list of lesson plans there, those are lesson plans that have been shared and that you can add into your Planboard with just a few simple clicks. So look at this here in the next screen here. When you want to import a lesson, you can scroll down here, and so this is the OTF group right now that you're all going to get access to. You can scroll here, and OTF is created, I would believe now it's like 300 or 400 lessons, and they tag them all off, so it's easy to search and filter them out. So you can say, hey, I'm teaching grade 4 or math, and there are lesson plans in here that you can just take, copy, and add into your Planboard account very, very simply. So if you want to see what a lesson plan looks like after clicking on it, you click on one here, as you see the black box are there. Click on the preview button, and you'll get to see what that lesson plan looks like, the resources that are in there. And then if you'd like to use it, you can click the import button on the right. So if you click that import button, sorry, let's jump back here for one. Click that import button. It's going to ask you to pop a little box, say, what course would you like to add this to, on what date, and they'll say, do you want to like shift the other lessons forward if there's one there already, or do you want to overwrite the lesson plan that's there? So you can just really quickly and easily import a lesson plan back in. Deanna, to answer your question, how do you access to those? The only thing you need to do is to send an email or send a message to chalk.com. It's support@chalk.com, and just say, hey, I would like to be added to the OTF group. I'll also follow up with Susan and Siri after the session. We can probably just grab your emails and send them off to Chalk and say, hey, do you mind just adding people to the OTF group? That way they can see all the OTF lessons and import them into Planboard there if they like. Okay, so that's really the quick basic overview of resources. That's another place to share. Natasha, no worries. I've got one final thing to go over here, but feel free to go. Thank you for joining us. So last thing I want to mention here is talking about a little bit there is the idea of OTF lessons. And OTF has been phenomenal in having teachers share a bunch of great resources across K-12 for Ontario. in all kinds of subjects. They tag them off by specific areas too. So there's lessons on critical thinking and things along those lines as well. So I mentioned to add that to you. You can just click on the OTF group within resources, and then if you click in the search box in the top right, you'll see all the tags there. So some examples like there's Ontario, literacy, reading, critical thinking, writing, language, and again, there are some specific for grades, some specific for subjects. There are lots of small lesson plans in here from OTF, and you can import them right into Planboard and just go and use them and share them in your classroom. So I mentioned once you clicked on one, previewed it, click the import button, and it's going to pop up a box like this where you choose the date that you want to insert that lesson plan into. You can then select the class you want to use it for. You click the import button. Once you go back to Planboard, that full lesson plan, the resources, the handouts are right there for you. So this is a really, really cool functionality inside Chalk.com and Planboard that OTF has created for all of us. And again, it is free, so another great, great feature. Okay, we are just before 9 o'clock now, so I'm going to skip the try it yourself here, but it was having some time to go and play this and ask any questions. And what I'll say, we're about to kind of wrap up here before people leave. I would love to take a few minutes to answer any final questions people have about anything that's covered down today. So if you have a mic, feel free to jump on the mic or throw a question into the chat there. Nope, the email here, I'll type in the chat for you. It is support@chalk.com. So if you fire an email off to support@chalk.com, and all you need to say in the email is, hey, I would like access to the OTF group and resources, or something along those lines. Here, I'll even help you out, Mark, you can copy and paste.
Andrew, if it's okay, and if it's okay with all of you, I am going to advance to my last few slides, and then I'll put it back to Andrew's any questions slide, and you can continue to ask him questions. So thank you all very much for attending tonight. This has been a great session. I was texting Andrew behind the scenes, and I said, it's nice to see your enthusiasm. I think once you get a sense of Planboard, you really see the potential of the tool, and it's just got great functionality. So thank you for opening our eyes to that, Andrew, and hopefully you'll all have some success with that. I also appreciated your comments about further sessions, so we are continuing to plan for after the new year. So we'll certainly talk about adding another session in. I'm going to stop the recording now, and then I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the feedback and the resources page and the recording. So if you'll bear with me for just a minute, I'll stop the recording and then we'll continue. Again, thank you, Andrew, and thank you all of you for attending tonight.